So in this video, we are going to go ahead and propagate a Tradescantia Zebrina. So it's sometimes called a wandering Jew plant. And the reason why I want to propagate this one is a similar problem that we had in the pothos plant. And that is I have a whole lot on this side of the pot, but over here, I have absolutely nothing. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of come through here. And sometimes, okay, that one's not even connected. Sometimes I find that the vines in these plants will almost come off. So what I'm going to do right here is the node. I'm going to go ahead and just make a cut below the node. And then I'm going to go through the vines and look for any that are kind of weak looking. Okay, so right here, that one just needs to come off. That vine had already fallen off there. But I'm going to look for some, say like this one, where that leaf is dead, but see all of this vine part that has no leaves, that's just wasted energy on my plant. So if I cut that off, and then if I cut below the node, I can go ahead and propagate this to make a new plant. I'm also going to take that leaf off because it is dead. And then I'm just going to go through the plant and look for, oh, jeez. Well, that piece just come right out. So I'm actually going to throw this one in the water too. It already has some roots growing there, but it wasn't very strong. What had happened was one of the nodes went into the dirt and it will actually start to propagate itself. So we'll just help that one along. And any spots where my plant is either missing a bunch of leaves or the vines look very thin. Okay, see right here, this main vine is nice and thick. This one that's coming out from it is very weak. So I'm just going to cut that off and then cut it off a little bit closer to that node. And then I'm going to rip this bottom leaf off and we can propagate that. So let me see if I have any more that look kind of fragile, missing leaves, weak, anything like that. Okay, here's another good example. This one, very nice looking vine. However, up here, you can see where it's lost quite a few leaves. So I'm just going to chop it off right there. And then this leaf is a little bit damaged, so we're going to take that off. This leaf is ripped. Pull that one off. And right below this node, I'm going to go ahead and cut. So that'll be a very nice long one, but I'm worried about this one that branches off. So as you can tell, it's not, well, as you can tell, it wasn't very thick, so it wasn't very established, but this one can also be a propagation. So below that node, just give it a little cut. And let me come through here, see if there's any other ones that don't look like they're going to make it. Okay, so this one I have a little bit of a problem with. So I'm going to take this one off. Now the problem that I have with this one, looks amazing down here. Up here where it connects, it is very thin. So this is very thin and I'm afraid that any wrong movement on this plant and that's going to detach anyways. So take off a few of the leaves and then I'll just cut below that node. And I think I'm gonna keep some of these longer ones. That one actually goes over here. And that comes off there too. I'm gonna take this one off as well and try to get as much off this little branch as I can. Pull off all the dead leaves. And pull off that one. Give that a cut. So this is what we will be propagating. And this plant is actually going to be better for it. So what we're going to do is just pop all of these into a container of water. It takes a couple of weeks, I'd say 4 to 6 weeks for these to grow roots and to take off. The cool thing about this is once I get roots in here, I'm actually going to put this right back into the plant. But for right now, these vines aren't going to be sucking the energy off of the plant, so the plant can really focus on the roots that it has and really putting its energy into that. Once these have roots, I'll put them on this side of the plant and the whole plant can be full. I don't like it when I have a half empty plant. Because it just seems like it's lacking. I almost think this might be too big of a pot also for what I have going on in there. But if I get these established, I think that would be fine in there. So then what we're left with is we are left with this plant, which is still got quite a few vines on it. It is very healthy. All of them have all of the leaves. It's doing very well. And then we have these propagations, which are not going to take long at all. I feel like these plants are super easy to grow. I do notice that sometimes they will shoot off these little side vines, and if you don't clip them off, they wind up dying anyways. But I think we can make this plant a whole lot fuller and really get some long vines on there. And I will post an updated video again in a couple of weeks just to show you how the roots are coming along on the propagations. Now, I'm not going to cut anything on this plant, but this is a different variety of the same plant that we had just propagated. I just wanted to show you another variety of it. I love this one with its pink color, so pretty. I actually just put a propagation into this one right here. This leaf right here, this little plant was a propagation that I had just put in. So I'll probably give it maybe a couple weeks before I hop in and actually propagate this one, because same thing, I'm trying to get it so it's full all the way around. So as you can see, it looks nice when it's hanging. As you can kind of see, I'm trying to get it at a good angle. It looks nice when it is hanging here, but I think it could just be a little bit fuller than what it is. I also have some dead leaves over here. See how I'm missing a few leaves? I'll probably wind up chopping that off just so it looks fuller when it's hanging, and then we could propagate this. But that's not going to happen today. That's going to happen in a different video because I just added one in here and I'm not ready to propagate this one just yet.